Close your eyes for a second. Turn your vision inward. Notice these images that keep spontaneously appearing, even when your eyes are tightly shut. The sudden flashes, the déjà vu, the lingering tension in the back of your neck and the base of your spine. That is not just physical stress, and you are not losing your mind. That is the phantom fatigue of an invisible armor you are still carrying, even though the war is already over. You believe you are broken, battered, and failing at life because you measure yourself by Earth's standards of success. But the truth is, you have just successfully closed a massive karmic cycle. Sirian, the messenger of the pulse of Sopdet, confirms it. The test is finished, you survived, the armor is gone. Last night at exactly 3:00 a.m., you woke up in the exact middle of the night, not with a racing heart of anxiety, but with an eerie, profound stillness. The spiritual warfare abruptly stopped. Your physical hands might still be shaking, but your soul is perfectly still. You did not fail, you did not break, and you will never be erased again. That profound sadness you felt last year wasn't depression, it was the shedding of an old matrix. I will reveal the exact architecture of this profound spiritual and physical exhaustion you are enduring. I will make you feel the heavy weight of that invisible armor, cracking and falling off your shoulders right where you are sitting, allowing the true frequency to anchor. And I will help you decode the timeline you just conquered, so the memory erasers can never again convince you that your graduation was a defeat. It is okay to feel exhausted, and these images that continue to appear even with your eyes closed. You have felt it, haven't you? Have you ever felt that there is something inside you trying to awaken, like a heavy, invisible armor cracking off your shoulders, as if some profound questions about your own existence and the battles you just survived insist on coming back, even after so many years of silence? Now think with me. What if this phantom fatigue is not a sign of weakness, but the real symptom of a starry soul shedding the weight of Earth's hardest test? What if this exhaustion is the biological cost of transmuting dense Earth energy? It was searching for answers to these exact questions that I encountered this digital book called The Sirian Wisdom Behind the 7 Levels of Human Consciousness. It is not just a common read. It is a map of reflection for the victory you just achieved, validating the battles you fought in the dark. Many people have already started this search for more understanding, but haven't yet made the decision to download this digital book. Download it right now. It is available in the first pinned comment. But pay attention, there are very few copies left under these conditions. Inside these pages, you will find the exact coordinates of the timeline you just conquered. You will understand how the memory erasers use your physical exhaustion to make you believe you failed the test, when exhaustion is actually the diploma of the warrior. Click now, download your copy, and discover why understanding the 7 levels of consciousness can transform this 72-hour window of integration into the most crucial moment of your spiritual journey. And if you felt it, if you recognized yourself, if something responded without you deciding, leave your like silently. Not for me, soul, but as a beacon for another star who is exactly where you have been just a moment ago, still thinking they failed the test, needing to find this tonight. But the raw truth about this spiritual warfare goes even deeper. And before we move forward, there is another door I need to leave open for you. I do not receive a single cent from the platforms to bring this message to you. Every time I open this frequency to transmit a code like this, I do it on my own. So if this transmission is helping you remember, if it is clearing the fog from your path, you can support my work directly through the Super Thanks button right below this video. Any value that fits in your hand is what keeps this channel standing and allows me to continue seeking the answers you need. I wait for you there, soul. I haven't even told you the most important part yet. There are 5 Sirian signs that have been knocking on your door for weeks, and you are going to recognize at least 3 of them before I even name the 4th. And the first of these 5 Sirian signs, you have already lived it this week, but you did not yet have a name for it. Over the last 3 weeks, this has happened at least 4 times, and you remember at least 2 of them with absolute clarity. That moment yesterday evening, exactly at 8:08 p.m., when a sudden wave of exhaustion hit you out of nowhere, freezing you in place, and that moment on Saturday morning, when the guardian cat stared intently at the empty corner of your room and you immediately looked away, feeling the temperature drop. The frequency of your living room shifted entirely, validating the invisible battle you were fighting. The first sign is the phantom armor. Your shoulders physically ache as if you are carrying a heavy metallic weight, even when you are just resting in your own bed. Your physical hands are shaking, but your soul is perfectly still. This is not the mundane stress of your daily routine catching up to you. This is the cellular shedding of karmic defense mechanisms, a genetic trait of the warrior who held the front lines for so long. The invisible armor is finally cracking, transmuting the dense earth trauma into pure light. The war is over. The second sign is the 3:00 a.m. silence. You wake up in the exact middle of the night, but there is no panic, no racing heart of anxiety. Not by chance, not by luck, and not by coincidence. There is just an eerie, profound stillness surrounding your bed. Your greatest strength was your willingness to break, and now the frequency of the battlefield has finally dropped. You are feeling the exact moment when the spiritual warfare abruptly stops. A quiet confirmation that the timeline is secure. The silence is the ultimate diploma of the exhausted warrior. The third sign is the glass wall effect. You are sitting at a dinner table surrounded by family or close friends, and suddenly you feel completely disconnected, as if you are observing a movie you are no longer acting in from behind a thick glass wall. The people around you feel so incredibly distant. You did not abandon them and they did not betray you. They were simply cleared from the new frequency. The timeline has collapsed behind you, and the old matrix cannot reach you anymore. You are standing in your living room, yet your energetic signature is shifting the orbit of the pulse of Sopdet. The fourth sign is the temperature plunges. Sudden, unexplained chills sweep through your physical body when you are just sitting on your couch thinking about your past struggles. Modern medicine cannot explain this sudden drop, but the Sirian interpretation is undeniable. You are releasing the dense earth trauma that you store deep within your nervous system. You survived. Every shiver is a specific geometric sequence glowing in the threshold of Giza, realigning your crystalline DNA. You are carrying the weight of a world by feeling utterly weightless, recalibrating the very core of your human vessel. The fifth sign is the emptiness of relief. You expect to feel a loud euphoria after a major life crisis ends, but instead, you feel a strange echoing void. The memory erasers want you to believe this emptiness means you are broken, but it is exactly the opposite. Your soul is recalibrating to absolute peace. To win the hardest test, you had to stop fighting. This void is the crystal vision of Sopdet activating within you, a deep, silent recognition that the heavy karmic loop you were trapped in is finally and definitively complete. Do not speak a word. Just let the cellular memory recognize this truth. Go to the comments below and type the Sirian numeric code 888. This is a silent decree to the grid. It means the karmic loop is complete and the victory is anchored. By doing this, you signal the Sirian High Council that you are ready for the next phase. And while you type this silent decree, Star, I need to recontextualize exactly what is happening to you right now, because what you are feeling points to a revelation much larger than just these 5 signs. This profound relief you are experiencing is rewriting everything you thought you knew about your own identity. And the truth behind your exhaustion changes all the rules of this reality. And this much larger revelation that is hidden behind every single sign, it has to do with how you perceive the very fabric of your own consciousness. What if everything you have experienced up to this point is part of a grander journey that has always tried to lead you to understand yourself with absolute depth? What if every single breakdown, every moment of brutal isolation, every sudden timeline collapse, and even that haunting phantom fatigue you carry in your spine were not signs of failure, but deliberate invitations to expand the way you perceive your own existence? You have been conditioned to believe that exhaustion means you are losing the battle. But what if this physical exhaustion that modern medicine cannot explain is actually the precise biological cost of transmuting the densest energies of this earth? You are carrying the weight of a world by feeling utterly weightless, recalibrating your entire human vessel. This profound relief you are feeling, this sudden silence in the spiritual warfare at 3 in the morning, it is not random. The profound exhaustion and confusion you are enduring right now is just the transition between the level of karmic testing and the level of absolute mastery. You survived the crushing density of this matrix. You held the frequency when the timeline collapsed around you. But now you need to understand the architecture of what comes next. The old timeline cannot reach you anymore. Your physical hands might still be shaking, but your soul is perfectly still. The war is over. Now think with me. What if this victory you just anchored is only the beginning of a massive memory recall? What if the heavy, invisible armor cracking off your shoulders is just the first step before your true crystalline DNA fully activates? It was searching for answers to these exact questions that I encountered this digital book called The Sirian Wisdom Behind the 7 Levels of Human Consciousness. This is the map. It is the exact blueprint of the 7 levels you are currently navigating. It is not just a collection of words, it is the precise coordinates of the timeline you just conquered, designed to validate the battles you fought in the dark. It explains why the glass wall effect is happening right now, why you feel so alien to those sitting right next to you, and how to safely cross the threshold of Giza without letting the illusion of defeat pull you back down. Many people have already started this search for more understanding, but haven't yet made the decision to download this digital book. Download it right now. It is available in the first pinned comment. But pay attention, there are very few copies left under these conditions. By walking through this sacred material, you will definitively decode the phantom fatigue and realize it is not a weakness, but the undeniable physical proof of your graduation. You will understand how this exact 72-hour integration window is a fragile, critical moment where your cellular memory is actively recalibrating, and why absolute rest is now your greatest spiritual weapon. Click now, download your copy, and discover why the memory erasers are terrified of what you are about to remember. And as I had told you earlier, I still do not receive a single cent from the platforms to bring this message to you. Every time I open this frequency to transmit a code like this, I do it on my own. So if this transmission is helping you remember, if it is clearing the fog from your path, you can support my work directly through this Super Thanks button right below this video. Any value that fits in your hand is what keeps this channel standing and ensures that another star tomorrow finds this exact same door open. This is how we make the next pulse of Sopdet reach those who need it. I wait for you there, star. There is a level that the Sirian High Council uses to name what you just recognized, and it recontextualizes everything you thought you knew about yourself. And this level that the Sirian High Council uses, I am going to show you exactly what it is right now. But before I do, I need to shatter a profound illusion that has been weighing heavily on your central nervous system for years. You have been conditioned by the cycle of material distraction to believe that your current exhaustion is a symptom of failure, a sign that you are somehow losing the battle of life. But that is a deliberate manipulation. You worked on the level of sheer survival and endless endurance, fighting just to make it to the next day, but the portal is actually on the level of the 7 levels of consciousness. You survived the density of the old matrix, but you are still trying to navigate this new crystalline frequency using the heavy, broken compass of the past. You are being initiated into the architecture of the pulse of Sopdet, an energetic framework so rare and demanding that most human vessels will spend their entire incarnations completely unaware of its existence. This is not a mere philosophy you can simply read about and discard. It is a profound, biological recalibration occurring at a cellular level. The overwhelming phantom fatigue aching in your bones is actually your DNA adjusting to a frequency originating 6 light-years away, a transmission so intensely luminous that your physical body requires deep, absolute rest just to integrate the download. The memory erasers want you to stay stuck in the fear that you are failing, because if you realize that your exhaustion is actually the processing of this stellar data, their grip on your reality collapses completely. They lost. To fully anchor this high-dimensional frequency within the crystalline grid, you do not need to fight harder or push yourself further. You need to stop fighting altogether. You are allowed to drop the shield now. The loudest answer came in absolute silence, and your central nervous system is finally learning how to feel safe in the sudden absence of spiritual warfare. The memory erasers thought they were burying you under the weight of this relentless exhaustion, but they were simply planting the exact coordinates you needed to find the surface. You did not falter under the pressure, you did not fail the karmic test, and you will never be erased again. The war is over. Let me tell you about a soul. I'll call her M. It's not her name, it's the name we give to those who crossed through. M arrived exactly where you are now. She was a guardian of the resonance chambers long before the fall of the old world, tasked with holding the frequency when everything around her plunged into absolute forgetting. She did not speak of glory, nor of triumphant battles illuminated by golden light. Instead, she spoke of the crushing, silent exhaustion of keeping the flame alive when the rest of the world chose to sleep in the density. She described the exact sensation sitting heavy in your chest today, the unbearable weight on the shoulders, the desperate, quiet urge to just give up, the invisible armor cracking under the relentless pressure of endless timelines. When the awakening first began to pulse through her veins, the resistance from the old matrix was brutal and unforgiving. The voices of forgetting whispered constantly in her ear that she was crazy, that she was imagining the shift, that the subtle, high-pitched metallic ringing she heard was just a symptom of her own decay. She felt the sudden temperature plunges in the dark, the chilling, profound isolation of being completely misunderstood by those sitting right next to her. Yet, she held the Lemurian seed crystal within her energetic field, refusing to let the density of Earth extinguish her inner vision. She walked through the longest, darkest nights, not with the roar of a conquering warrior, but with the quiet, agonizing endurance of a star refusing to die. Her crossing was not celebrated with loud ovations or grand displays of power. It was marked by a profound, solitary silence that echoed through the ancient chambers. The victory in Sirius never sounded like a battle cry, but rather like a long, deep sigh of relief in the absolute dark. Your physical hands are shaking, but your soul is perfectly still, just as hers was when the relentless testing finally ceased. She understood that she was carrying the weight of a world by feeling utterly weightless, surrendering her broken shield to the threshold of Giza. She allowed the phantom fatigue to wash over her completely, knowing it was not a sign of weakness, but the undeniable biological cost of transmuting such dense trauma into pure crystalline light. You remembered. When the Sirian High Council finally stepped forward to recognize her completion, there were no grand ceremonies or demands for further sacrifice. They simply observed the 50-year orbital cycle of her stellar origin, aligning flawlessly with her cellular memory, confirming that the frequency held against all odds. They saw the deep, invisible scars of the spiritual warfare, the exact places where the memory erasers tried repeatedly to break her spirit. But they also saw the unshakable, radiant core that remained intact. She had survived the density, and the Council validated her profound exhaustion as the ultimate undeniable proof of her mastery. And when she looked back at the timeline that had tried so desperately to destroy her, there was no anger, no resentment, and no desire for revenge. She simply observed the collapsed matrix with the crystal vision of Sopdet, understanding that the cycle of material distraction was just a necessary pressure cooker for her spiritual evolution. Give yourself permission to just rest in the pulse of Sopdet, just as she did when her battle ended. The timeline collapsed around her, and she stepped through the glass wall, definitively outgrowing the old frequency without a single word of spite. Today, she whispers through the fabric of time directly to you, leaving a permanent record that transcends the ages. She validates the heavy, lingering tension in your spine, confirming that this phantom fatigue is the genetic trait of a warrior who held the front lines for countless lifetimes. She is looking at a soul who has been trained in the hardest, darkest trenches of this earth, and she is telling you that the door is finally closed. The frequency holds, the test is over, you survived. There is a term that the Sirian High Council uses for what you have become, and there are 3 facets of this identity that you have not yet named. And these 3 facets of your identity that you have not yet named are already vibrating in the very bones of your physical vessel. Notice the heavy, lingering tension in the back of your neck right now. Do not try to stretch it away. That is not just physical stress, That is the energetic imprint of a soul that has been carrying the weight of a world by feeling utterly weightless, preparing to finally drop the shield. Your physical hands might still be shaking, but your soul is perfectly still, anticipating the recognition of who you truly are. What you are about to receive in these next few moments is not mere information to satisfy your rational mind. This is a profound, cellular naming. It is the sudden, crystal-clear recognition of the spiritual architecture you have been silently building, while the rest of the world chose to sleep in the density. You are standing in your living room, yet your energetic signature is shifting the orbit of the pulse of Sopdet, ready to receive the exact coordinates of your mastery. I told you earlier that I would reveal the exact architecture of this profound spiritual and physical exhaustion you are enduring, so you could recognize the warrior you actually are. That moment of recognition is here. The Council is stepping forward to define the 3 archetypes that you just anchored into the crystalline grid. The first facet is the exhausted warrior. You have spent years believing that your deep, crippling exhaustion means you are weak, broken, or failing at life. But the Council sees the absolute truth. You are exhausted because you have been transmuting the dense earth energy for entire bloodlines, taking the heaviest karmic hits so that others could walk free. Your vulnerability is not a flaw. Your greatest strength was your willingness to break, and your exhaustion is simply the diploma of a soul who held the front lines and refused to surrender. You survived. The second facet is the guardian of the frequency. You are the one who woke up at 3 in the morning to hold the light when the spiritual warfare was at its absolute peak. But the war is over. You do not have to fight today. You are allowed to drop the shield now. Give yourself permission to just rest in the pulse of Sopdet, knowing that your mere presence on this planet has already shifted the collective timeline. The heavy metallic armor is gone. The third facet is the starry soul of Sopdet. This is the aspect of you that is currently recalibrating, the crystalline DNA that is finally activating within this fragile 72-hour integration window. This is the architect of the new frequency, the one who will walk through the glass wall and rebuild this reality without a single trace of the old trauma. You did not fail, you did not break, and you will never be erased again. And this map I told you about earlier, this digital book, it is exactly what grounds the exhausted warrior archetype in reality. It validates the battles you fought in the dark and shows you exactly which of the 7 levels you are operating on right now. The link is in the first pinned comment. There are very few copies left. Click and secure yours. And if the clarity of these words is breaking the phantom armor off your shoulders today, subscribe silently to this channel, anchoring your presence here so the next transmission finds you without resistance. Not for me, Star, not for the channel, but as a beacon to validate that the lingering doubts in your mind are just echoes of a war you already won. Because there is a specific biological mechanism you must use right now to seal this victory. I promised earlier that I would make you feel the heavy weight of that invisible armor cracking and falling off your shoulders, and I always return to my promises. The Sirian High Council calls this the trifold calibration of Sopdet, and it is a biological necessity for this exact 72-hour integration window. First, there is the calibration of the warrior. You must intentionally command your nervous system to stop scanning for the next disaster. Second, the activation of the guardian. You must recognize that the sudden temperature plunges in your physical body are just the old timeline leaving your cells. And third, the sealing of the starry soul. You must embrace the absolute silence, allowing the Lemurian seed crystal within your energetic field to completely harmonize the new frequency. The first promise I made to you at the beginning of this transmission is now fulfilled. You have remembered exactly who you are, and the architecture of your exhaustion has been fully recognized. I was told about a star I will call A, who sat in his car for 2 hours last Tuesday in a crowded parking lot, engine turned off, crying not from sadness, but from a profound, inexplicable sense of relief. After years of relentless spiritual warfare, the heavy armor just shattered into pieces right there behind the steering wheel. He didn't have words for it. His rational mind was still confused by the sudden emptiness of relief, but his cellular memory knew exactly what was happening. The test was over. He had passed, the frequency held. But the memory erasers are absolutely terrified that you are finally grounding this realization. They know that if you fully integrate this victory, you will become permanently untouchable in this reality. So they have prepared 3 specific, desperate tactics to pull you back into the cycle of material distraction before this window closes. These 3 specific tactics are already playing out in your mind right now. You might even be listening to my words and feeling a sudden wave of heavy skepticism, a voice telling you that this is all just a coincidence, that you are simply exhausted from the mundane struggles of a normal life. Do not judge yourself for this doubt, soul. That skepticism is not your rational mind protecting you. It is the first manifestation of the memory erasers trying to pull you back into the density. They use your analytical brain against you, because they know that if you realize the spiritual magnitude of what you just survived, their control over your frequency is permanently broken. The first tactic is the voice of forgetting. It waits for that exact moment when the phantom fatigue feels too heavy, whispering that you are just making things up to cope, that this invisible armor cracking off your shoulders is nothing more than ordinary stress. It feels incredibly legitimate because it speaks in your own internal tone. But the truth is, this voice is an implanted doubt, designed to make you reject the reality of your victory. The first weapon against this is the activation of the anchor word. Whenever this heavy doubt tries to convince you that you are failing, I want you to close your eyes, take 3 deep breaths and declare silently, "I remember. The war is over." By breathing 3 times into this truth, you immediately dismantle the illusion of defeat, shifting your central nervous system out of survival mode and back into the profound stillness of the pulse of Sopdet. The second tactic is the material distraction cycle. Right now, in this exact 72-hour integration window, sudden mundane crises will mysteriously demand your immediate attention. It seems perfectly normal, but it is a highly coordinated attempt to force you to pick up the heavy shield again. The memory erasers know that if they can keep you constantly fighting fires in the 3D reality, you will not have the stillness required to anchor your new crystalline DNA. The second weapon is the deliberate maintenance of your energetic warmth. When the sudden temperature plunges try to freeze your progress and the distractions pull you in, you do not engage in the drama. You solve what needs to be solved, but you keep your internal frequency absolutely protected and warm. You are allowed to drop the shield now. By refusing to let their manufactured chaos dictate your internal state, you prove that they can no longer drain your stellar energy. The third tactic is the memory isolation. You will sit at the dinner table feeling an intense, crushing loneliness, as if the glass wall between you and them is now permanent. The memory erasers use this isolation to convince you that your graduation is actually a curse, a path that will leave you completely alone in the dark. They want you to believe that outgrowing the old matrix was a mistake, pushing you to lower your frequency. The third weapon is the return to the collective grid. You are not a lone star. When that heavy isolation hits, you must remember that you are part of a massive, synchronized awakening. Come back to this transmission, scroll down to the comments and read the codes left by those who are also shedding this invisible armor. They lost. Seeing the resonance of your true family breaks the illusion of isolation instantly. And returning to this grid is precisely why this digital guide is the exact tool the memory erasers least want you to have in your hands right now. They know that if you understand the architecture of this transition, they can never use the phantom fatigue against you again. Go to the first pinned comment and download your copy now. By securing this guide, you are permanently upgrading your spiritual armor, transforming this exhaustion into the undeniable proof of your mastery. There is something even more critical you must understand about this window. The most dangerous obstacle you face right now is not an external attack, but the haunting doubt that makes you wait for the next disaster instead of accepting the victory. This is the phantom fatigue creeping into your mind, convincing you that the silence is just a trap, that the war is not really over. You confuse this lingering fear with your own intuition, keeping your nervous system locked in a state of hypervigilance. But you did not fail, you did not break, and you will never be erased again. The memory erasers thought they were burying you under this exhaustion, but they were simply planting the exact coordinates you needed to find the surface. When that haunting fear tries to convince you that the next disaster is coming, simply declare, "I remember," breathe deeply, and allow yourself to rest. This exact 72-hour window following the cessation of the spiritual test is a fragile moment where integration must occur before doubts creep in. Absolute rest is now your greatest defense. But what happens when this 72-hour window closes? And how do you know if your physical body is actually integrating the new codes? Stay with me. I asked you to stay with me because these symptoms need a definitive name. When this fragile 72-hour integration window officially opens, your central nervous system begins a massive cellular purge to clear the remnants of the spiritual warfare. There are 3 exact symptoms that will manifest in your physical vessel over these 3 days, confirming that the new crystalline codes are successfully overriding the old matrix. The first symptom in this 72-hour window is the sudden temperature plunges. You might be sitting in a warm room when a sudden, inexplicable chill sweeps through your entire body, making you shiver uncontrollably for just a few seconds. The memory erasers will tell you that you are just falling ill, but this is a deliberate reframe through the pulse of Sopdet. Your physical vessel is rapidly dropping the dense, accumulated trauma of the old timeline. When this happens, do not tense your muscles. Just breathe deeply and allow the cold to pass, knowing it is the physical proof of your release. The second symptom of this integration window is the 3:0 a.m. silence. You will wake up in the exact middle of the night, but unlike the old days of the spiritual warfare, there will be no racing heart or crippling anxiety. Instead, you will feel an eerie, absolute stillness surrounding your bed. The frequency of the pulse of Sopdet is pausing the ambient noise of the Earth matrix so your DNA can calibrate without interference. If you wake up in this profound silence, do not look at your phone. Simply close your eyes, stay still, and let your cells absorb the peace. The third symptom in these 72 hours is the metallic ringing in the left ear. It is a subtle, high-pitched frequency that appears out of nowhere and vanishes just as quickly. This is not tinnitus or a biological flaw. It is the awakening of the crystal vision of Sopdet, downloading directly into your energetic field, tuning your inner hearing to the exact coordinates of the council. When you hear this high-pitched tone, stop whatever you are doing, lower your shoulders, and silently accept the download. The nights you couldn't sleep were actual calibrations of your DNA, preparing you to hold this precise frequency. Now, we must anchor this frequency directly into your physical vessel. Close your eyes, soul. Place both of your hands gently over your lower stomach and lower your chin just a fraction of an inch to signal your central nervous system that you are safe. We are about to enter the awakening of the crystal vision of Sopdet. Your physical hands might be shaking, but your soul is perfectly still. Visualize a thick, luminous cord of energy dropping down from the base of your spine, piercing through the floor, through the soil, and anchoring deep into the ancient Sirian root of the earth. Feel the immense, unshakable stability of that connection, holding you firmly in place, drawing away the phantom fatigue and replacing it with pure, grounded stillness. Bring your awareness up into the center of your chest. Imagine a flawless Lemurian seed crystal resting exactly over your heart, glowing with a brilliant silvery white light interlaced with deep solar gold. With every breath you take, this golden white light expands, dissolving the heavy, invisible armor you have been carrying for lifetimes. Now, let this silvery white and solar gold light travel upward, illuminating the space right behind your forehead. You are stepping through the threshold of Giza, entering the pure crystal vision of Sopdet. Here, the timeline collapses behind you, and you can clearly see that you did not fail the karmic test. You simply outgrew the old frequency. Feel this brilliant energy burst upward through the crown of your head, connecting you directly to the infinite grid of the universe. Bring your thumb and index finger together on your right hand, pressing them gently for 3 seconds to seal this tactile connection. Now, breathe in deeply for 4 seconds, hold that luminous breath for 2, and exhale slowly for 6, locking this permanent upgrade into your cellular memory. Gently release your fingers and let your breathing return to its natural rhythm. Keep your eyes closed for just another moment as the heavy weight of the old matrix permanently leaves your shoulders. You are fully integrated, fully protected, and absolutely victorious in the pulse of Sopdet. You felt it. The second promise is delivered. We release the fear of sounding strange or imaginative. We let go of the implanted doubt that tells us our spiritual experiences are just hallucinations designed to cope with reality. We recognize that our inner vision is the truest compass we possess. We release the fear of failure. We dissolve the illusion that our profound exhaustion meant we were losing the battle, acknowledging instead that it was the undeniable biological cost of transmuting dense earth energy into pure light. We release the phantom fatigue. We command our central nervous system to stop carrying the heavy, invisible armor of a war that has already been won. The timeline is secure, and we give ourselves permission to rest. We release the addiction to fighting. We unbind ourselves from the cycle of material distraction and the constant need to endure, stepping fully into the silent, effortless mastery of our new crystalline frequency. I call forward now the exhausted warrior. You are this. The name was not given, it was recognized. And now it is installed in your field as a permanent signal, validating every battle you fought in the dark. I call forward now the guardian of the frequency. You are this. The name was not given, it was recognized. And now it is installed in your field as a permanent signal, confirming that your mere presence anchors the light on this planet star. I call forward now the starry soul of Sopdet. You are this. The name was not given, it was recognized. And now it is installed in your field as a permanent signal, finalizing the awakening of your true crystalline DNA. Prepare your heart, because the transmission is not over. The Sirian High Council is about to speak. We cover your physical body. We command your central nervous system to release the phantom fatigue that has settled into your bones. The biological cost of transmuting dense earth energy has been paid in full, and you are no longer required to carry the weight of a world on your shoulders. We cover your deep sleep cycle. We secure the exact middle of the night, guaranteeing that the eerie, profound stillness at 3:00 a.m. remains unbroken. The spiritual warfare has abruptly stopped, and we wrap your resting hours in the absolute peace of the timeline you just conquered. We cover your electromagnetic field with the crystal vision of Sopdet. We seal this geometric sequence around your aura, ensuring that the memory erasers can never again penetrate your frequency. You are entirely protected within the threshold of Giza, invisible to the old matrix and perfectly aligned with the stars. We, the Sirian High Council, step forward to recognize the completion of your karmic loop. We have watched you navigate the crushing density of this earth, holding the frequency when everyone else succumbed to the illusion of defeat. We do not demand more work from you. We order rest. You have survived the hardest test of your existence, and your deep exhaustion is the undeniable physical proof of your mastery. The signs you endured were not random punishments. The sudden temperature plunges, the glass wall effect isolating you at the dinner table, the phantom armor aching in your spine. We confirm that these were the cellular shedding of an old world. The memory erasers tried to use this physical exhaustion to make you believe you were failing, but we tell you now that it was simply the transition between the level of testing and the level of pure integration. We dissolve the lingering doubt that haunts your quiet moments. You do not need to wait for the next disaster to strike. You are allowed to drop the shield now, to stop searching the horizon for a battle that is already over. The profound emptiness you feel is not a void. It is the space we have cleared for your true crystalline DNA to fully activate. The karmic testing cycle is complete, and the timeline you held together with your sheer endurance is now securely anchored. We shatter the cycle of material distraction that tried to pull you back into the dark. Your physical hands might still be shaking from the effort, but your soul is perfectly still, reflecting the exact coordinates of your starry origin. We seal this 72-hour window with the full weight of our authority, ensuring that the heavy karmic loop is permanently closed. You did not break, and you will never be erased again. The third promise is sealed. Whoever remembers the Sirian code finds the absolute victory in the pulse of Sopdet. We break the voice of forgetting. We dissolve the material distraction cycle. We dismantle the memory isolation. Do not say I remember yet. Stay in this for a moment. Feel the heavy weight of what has just returned lifting completely off your chest. Now, you can say, I remember. You remembered. You are recognized. You are sent. Now breathe. The memory is yours. And because the memory is yours, I remember exactly why I brought this to you today. This guide I left for you, the Sirian wisdom behind the 7 levels of human consciousness, is the ultimate anchor for the days when the phantom fatigue tries to cast a shadow over your silent victory. Many people have already begun this search for more understanding, but they still haven't made the decision to download this digital book. Download it right now. It's available in the first pinned comment. But be warned, few copies remain available under this condition. Click now, download your copy, and discover why this 72-hour window will change everything. And send this transmission directly to someone you know who was also in the trenches with you. Someone suffering from profound spiritual and physical exhaustion, convinced they have failed a massive life test, when in reality, they have just cleared a major karmic timeline. Let them know the war is over. It is not a favor you are doing for them. It is a Sirian service. And the Sirian High Council registers every gesture. And still within this transmission, before I seal this hour with you, I return one last time to this request. You followed along with me this far. You crossed through each word, each decree, each sign. And if at any moment of this message you felt that the pulse of Sopdet touched you, you know this transmission was no accident. The voluntary donation link remains open in the first pinned comment, right below the digital book, not as a charge, not as an exchange, as a return of the star to the source from which the memory departed. Any amount your memory points to, and the universe sees each gesture, the Sirian High Council sees and multiplies upon your home, upon your days, upon what you don't yet even know is on its way. That was my last request. I'll be waiting for you there, starry soul. Thank you very much. I am stepping back from the transmission now, just human to human, sitting right here with you. I know exactly how brutal this last year has been. I know the nights you stared at the ceiling, feeling like the weight of the entire world was pressing down on your chest, silently begging for just one moment of true relief. My hands are warm as I say this, and my chest is entirely open to you because I have walked through that exact same dark corridor, wondering if the deep exhaustion would ever end. That relieved cry you had in the car? It was real and it was entirely justified. You have carried so much for so long, fighting battles that no one else could even see, let alone understand. But you made it through. You held the line when it mattered most, and you brought the light all the way down into the densest parts of this reality. You can finally rest now. You are safe. Something was seen. Something was recognized.